Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and tonight we are live. It's time for yet another episode in our One and Done series. We are looking at the one and only album from David and David. Let's do it.
Grant is changing the world one track at a time on Grant's Rock Warehouse.
And hopefully we will change more tracks tonight. Anyway, hey, we're live. How many's here? We have 12. Wow. All right. But we're talking David and David. How is the panel tonight? We have Mr. BM Bolt. We've got DC. We have Cretin. Look at him. Just saw him before he's blowing his hair out. Looking good. Anyway, gentlemen, how are you? Ready to talk some David and David?
Yes, let's converse.
All right. We will keep it loose and we will keep it. I got nothing. Anyway, it's David and David. This was, we're talking David Baerwald and David Ricketts. So these gentlemen were a Los Angeles-based pop rock duo. They released one album, 1986 on A&M Boomtown. Now, this has a bit of a cult following to it. It's, well, I mean, it captures Reagan-era disillusionment, focusing on addiction, poverty, broken dreams in Los Angeles. So not much has changed.
It's worse.
It's probably worse.
Oh, I got a few comments along that line.
We're not political here in the warehouse,
No.
but rumor has it, if you're in San Francisco, watch out where you walk. Anyway, musical styles, they blend pop rock, heartland rock, singer-songwriter, storytelling. When I listen to it, though it's not my turn, I hear a lot of Bruce Springsteen, a lot of Tom Waits. Anyway, this album was released July 7th, 1986. It didn't do all that well on the charts. It got to number 39 on the charts on the Billboard 200, certified gold in 1995. So it took a while. Lead single was Welcome to the Boomtown, hit number 37 on the Billboard Hot 100. I don't know. We're going to take a look at it. And I'm thinking, we know Cretin always has his shit together. Right, gentlemen?
Oh, absolutely.
100%. But before we get started, I think we're going to start out with Cretin, and we'll go DC and then Mr. BM Bolt. But let's see what's happening in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen, because we wouldn't do this show if it wasn't for you. Well, I probably would, but it's always nice to have. It's always better live.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, Webb. Webb,
Hello,
nice.
Webb.
Thanks for coming.
Hello, Webb.
Webb is going through our names.
Hey, Webb.
Jason, nice to
Jason.
see you.
Ken's always here too.
3 all studs. What are you talking? What? Who's
David and David, and which one of us for?
One of us is not a stud.
Keith? How's it going? We've seen Keith on the Contrarians. We just did a
Yes.
show that went up on the Patreon today, and Keith hit it out of the park. He's an overachiever, ladies and gentlemen. Love the song, had the album back in the day, but don't recall anything else about it. Steven's
We may
here.
share. Hey, Steven.
Thanks for coming. Ultraviolet. I knew someone that bought this CD along with a new CD player system, played it constantly, and yet all I remember is one song.
Okay,
Oh,
Ultra.
what a way to start the show.
I'm not feeling too bad about my general impression.
Ken, good evening, Warehouse. Hello, Grant, DC, BM, Davey, Webb, Jason, Keith.
Good evening, Ken.
I have heard from, I just want to let everybody know in case everybody was wondering whatever happened to Marlon.
Yeah.
George Lemie let me know what happened to Marlon. Marlon is taking a bit of a break. He was a little bit overextended. He's working on getting a car for his wife. He's got a lot going on, so he's taking a bit of a break. But he did say that my show content still sucks.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's good to know he's not lost that Marlin attitude and fire.
because I need Marlon to
Snarliness.
give me crap when we're doing these shows, and it's not quite the same. Anyway, let's get on. Let's get serious. Like I said, we do want to hear from everybody in the chat. If you know this record, which I don't know, we got 25 watching now. Ben Steve gave me a thumbs up. Thank you on Facebook. If you do another record, I am going to take your ranking out of 10 when we get there. Anyway, let's get started. Davey Cretin, how are you?
Excellent. Thank you for having me, Grant.
Excellent. So what we do on this show is we do a brief synopsis. We don't have to go really in deep. We just want to know what your thoughts are on the record and your rating out of 10. And we're keeping it loose and we're keeping it real. So, Davey, go ahead. What's your thoughts on this record?
Okay, besides the chart placement in America, it hit number 49 in Australia, 47 in Sweden, and 33 in New Zealand. And all the songs were written by David and David, except the last song, which at first I thought was a cover song. It's called Heroes. So I see that, I think, oh, David Bowie cover. No, David Baerwald wrote that song by
the other David.
It's a 41-minute album. They play all the instruments on it except drums are played by Ed Green, and Tony Childs, who at the time was dating David Ricketts, does backing vocals along with a few other people. So it's really almost like a singer, like you said a lot of the stuff I have in my notes. It's very much a singer-songwriter record, except there are two guys as the singer-songwriter. So that's a big difference. It's like Jackson Browne and Jackson Browne. Him and his twin playing on it. There were 3 singles released from the record. The first 3 songs, like you said, Welcome to the Boomtown, Swallowed by the Cracks, and Ain't So Easy. A lot of character studies on the album. To me, it's early AAA, AAA Americana, story songs in the vein of, like you said, Springsteen, Mellencamp, and John Waits. 2 of them you name-checked, Grant. And I wrote, it's not about cruising and boozing and babes. It's songs with a lot deeper meanings. So
I don't know. When I hear Davey, I think about going into LA and getting coke and heroin and hanging out. I don't know.
Well, that's what the first song is about. Welcome to the Boomtown, 5.5 minutes. First single, hit 27 in Australia, number 37 here, and on the US Billboard mainstream rock chart, number 8. So that's the highest placement. Definitely played here in New York on FM Rock Radio in 1986. And I think I bought the 45 of it back in the day. And I definitely heard the record a couple of years later when I first started working at the record stores. And with this song, I recall the sinewy, snaky lead guitar line that goes in and out of the tune at 3 or 4 different points. And that makes it stand out, that lead guitar. It's a cool sound. And it's a story song about Miss Christina, who's addicted to cocaine, and her dealer, whose name is Kevin. He's mentioned in the song, and the song does not have a happy ending here, but you'll have to hear the song to see what happens. It's an excellent character study that reads like a good novella. The first chorus has some nice subtle bass work and industrial sounding percussion, but not industrial music, more like you'd hear working in a factory, like the clanging of hammers is what I hear there. You get some more cool bass work after the second chorus before the torrid tale of woe comes to an end. And the last minute of the song has that excellent lead guitar that comes back snaking its way through the end of the final fade. So it's a really good song to lead off the record. Definitely got heavy rock airplay here in New York back in the day. Leads into Swallowed by the Cracks. Second single, 4 minutes, 15 seconds, also released in 1986. Hit number 96 in Australia, on the US rock charts, number 14. Quite possibly it's the most accessible song here. It's another story song. However, it has a bright poppy sound that belies its black heart beneath the exterior. This song talks about the narrator, also Stevie and Eileen, and their dreams. And the song is a self-fulfilling prophecy, yet it's bouncy, buoyant, and upbeat. There's some nice harmonica playing during the ending section to the fade out. And it's a song about hopes and dreams, but sometimes dreams just don't come true. So it's a sad song, even though it sounds very happy. I like the bridge section here too. They have some on this album, some mellow bridges that come out throughout the tracks. We move on to track 3, Ain't So Easy, a little under 5 minutes, the third and final single, released in 1987. So A&M, the record label that put it out, had some faith and hope in these guys that they would do well, releasing 3 singles in the mid-'80s. And speaking of the 80s, the record has some of those 80s production tropes, especially on the drum sound. It's not a big booming drum sound. It sort of sounds slightly dated, but it really doesn't take away from the enjoyment of the record.
Well, they're kind of big drums, but they're not. I wouldn't consider them gated drums like really bad. I don't think that this record, when you listen to it today, yeah, it has 80s tendencies, but I don't think it's all that bad compared to a lot of things that were
right. But it's in slightly the drum sound and maybe the keyboard sounds, the patches that they use.
Yeah, the Yamaha DX7, yeah, that might be part of it.
So Ain't So Easy hit number 87 in Australia, number 51, so they had a bounce back and this charted on the Hot 100. And the US rock chart, number 17. This song also has a catchy, poppy, upbeat chorus like the previous number, so I know that's why they released it as a single. It's a story song, but it's not as pointed as the first 2 tunes. And to speed it up, track 4, Being Alone Together, 5.5 minutes. Starts off very slow and builds with subtle keyboards and a riffy electric guitar that's sort of a little low in the mix. I wish it was a little higher. And when the chorus hits, it has sort of a reggae dancey kind of groove. More dancing bass appears in the chorus section. I like the bass on this record. It's a little low in the mix, but it's good. Another low-key bridge section that recalls the one used in Swallowed by the Cracks, and that wailing lead guitar from the first song, Welcome to the Boomtown, returns here for the final minute, the outro of the song. Then we come on to track 5, A Rock for the Forgotten, 4.5 minutes long. And I think Baerwald sings the first 4 tracks. And this one, I think, is David Ricketts on the lead vocals here. And Baerwald is on the harmony and the backing vocals. Another story song, to me, the title, A Rock for the Forgotten, refers to what I think are headstones in a cemetery for people who had big dreams, but they didn't come true. And the headstone is there to show that they are not forgotten, so they're always remembered. And the song also, the way it tells the story, reminds me of a great 90s alt-rock band that I love called Dada. Does anyone on the panel remember Dada? D-A-D-A? They had that great song Disneyland in the 90s. And this song reminds me of their song from their debut album Puzzle that also had Disneyland called Here Today, Gone Tomorrow. So check out the band Dada. So this is an interesting song as well. Track 6 is River's Gonna Rise, 4.5 minutes. I think it's Ricketts again on the lead vocal here. And he sort of has a spoken word type delivery that reminds me a little bit of Lou Reed and maybe Tom Waits, that Grant name checked earlier. The chorus has a nice lift to it. And then David Baerwald comes in with that noisy guitar again for the last minute, almost out of nowhere. You're not expecting it. And then you hear it and say, there's that cool lead guitar. Track 7 is Swimming in the Ocean, a hair under 4 minutes. It's got a cool circular guitar, a cool circular riff that's from the mellow lead guitar, not the noisy guitar. And there's some nice burbling bass beneath it. And it has sort of a Talking Heads and 80s King Crimson vibe, the way it just goes around in a circle. It's a little more experimental and in an art rock vein. So that's why it's at its position as number 7 on the record. Getting to the penultimate track here, All Alone in the Big City, 4.5 minutes. It's a slow burn. It has a lot of moody piano and synth sounds in it, and that's what carries the song. The lead guitar returns here in the middle section, but it's a little jazzier, not as noisy. Then 3/4 of the way, it picks up a little and gets noisier. But to me, it's not enough to save this song. The album is very front-loaded, and it sort of peters out at this moment to me. But then the last track that I mentioned before, Heroes, comes in, and it's a very different sounding song, a little over 3 minutes. It's Baerwald's only solo composition on the record. And here you get the lap steel guitar, the dobro, and the mandolin. So it gives it a country blues type of vibe, yet it's upbeat, and it doesn't drag to me as much as the previous song, which almost brings the record down a little. And I like the bass playing on this song too. and it's a good album closer. So that is the record in a nutshell, all 9 tracks.
Excellent
41
work.
minutes.
What would you rank this out of 10?
Oof.
Come on, Davey. I need you to bring it.
The ending brings it down a little. It's a good record. It's not hard rock. It's like in the singer-songwriter mold. I'm going to give it a 6.5.
6.5?
Yeah.
Damn. All right.
The 3 singles are really good. And then, oh, look, he's got it.
Is that it?
That's it.
Never listened to it.
Puzzle.
Somebody gave me a bunch of CDs, and that's in the pile of shit I've never listened to.
Oh, no bad songs on that.
That's
one.
a $1 CD, Byron.
Well, yeah, just people give me CDs.
I'm just
I can
saying
get pile of
it's
CDs.
Man, I wish I knew people like that.
I know. I feel like I've been interrogated.
It's mostly
Oh,
country, though.
I feel violated, Ernesto.
Anyway,
David, Davey, and Davey. I feel like
Dino
Man.
Desi, and what was that back in the day?
the way Cretin talked about this record, I thought he was part of the band. I thought this would have got a 10 out of 10.
he
Yeah,
stole every
damn-
one of my facts.
He went through everything about this damn thing and gave it only a 6.5.
He was the third David, and he wanted to rock out a little more, but the other 2 Davids weren't having it. So he said,
if
au
I was
revoir.
the 2 Davids, I would be thinking, look at Cretin. Look at Cretin. Look at Cretin. He is killing it. Oh, then he bring it down
Thank
to just a mediocre review.
Yeah.
It's
All
okay.
of my
All right.
notes that I've got, I think you covered, but I'll go over what I had.
Marco's here.
That
You've been
sums
checking
it
out
all
Thanks
up.
Keller 100%, Marco. Don't forget Sylvain. May he rest in peace. I do like that. Davey, and Dada.
Nice.
Keeper, you're a
One more.
poet. Damn near.
Yeah.
Davey's drinking out a solo cup. God knows what's in that.
Throwback to the
Davey,
80s.
Davey's always 100% thorough. All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Webb.
Davey. We've got a 6.5. I don't want to know what you think. A lot of these people, I don't think, know this record anyway. So that's what these shows are about, trying to turn you on to stuff. Or maybe not if you listen to Cretin's review. Anyway, DC, let's throw it over to you.
All right. Oh,
What's your
Val
thoughts on
got
this
it.
record?
Dino, Desi, and Billy. That's what was eluding me, the Billy. Okay, back to David and David.
Hey, by the way, Desi's the only one alive.
Here's a fun fact
Dino
for
got
you.
killed in an accident, and Billy just died a couple years ago.
Here's a fun fact for you.
Thank you.
Anyway, to me, the yin and yang that's kind of good, but then not for old DC is this group in some respects sounds a little bit like Bourgeois Tag without the hooks or without the catchiness that sticks in your head. That's not what this group is all about. People mentioned Springsteen. I see that as well. And also on a couple of the tracks, there's a Bowie-like vocal element that comes in. This is like an album full of songs about downtrodden characters living on society's edge, like film noir or something. This whole style of music is really not in my wheelhouse at all. Americana, singer-songwriter vibe, just not my cup of tea. It's all competently played and sung, just not my jam. And for me, the songs kind of meandered. They never really grabbed me. Nothing to me was really catchy or something I could really sink my teeth into. If someone was playing this while I was in a room with them, I wouldn't complain, but I wouldn't be asking, who is this? It's just, for me, it just kind of sits there. The songs I like best on the album are the first track, the title, Welcome to the Boomtown. Swallowed by the Cracks is the catchiest tune on here. And I mentioned it has a good beat. Being
But
Alone.
can you dance to it, DC?
No, it would not be a choice for me to dance to, but it's got an okay beat.
Shit.
As singer-songwriter music goes. Being Alone Together, I put soulful and insightful. And I'm not like I don't look for great truths or storytelling type stuff with lyrics. As long as they sound right and they're not stupid and annoying, they really don't. I don't sit there and rub my chin and think about them. So for me,
oh shit. Wait a minute. Sorry, DC. We have to handle this right now.
Okay.
Kiefer said he played 30 seconds. Dude started singing and I had to shut it off.
What?
Jeez, Kiefer. Harsh.
Yeah,
Is
well,
that
I mean,
it was so catchy and you couldn't get enough, or what?
Hey, I like some Americana. I'll have to check it out, says Kyle. Yeah, all we're doing here is we're all not going to like everything, but hopefully when you kind of get where we're all coming from in our general likes and dislikes, you can kind of frame it and see whether you really want to pursue it or not. For me, it's just not in my wheelhouse, but I will say it's all very competently played. Songs are well written. It's just not for me. It's not for me.
Okay, so wait a minute. Before we get your rating.
Yes, sir.
Scott does have a good point. He said Boomtown always felt like LA to me.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree with that.
Oh, yeah, because this time period, I spent a little time out in LA, and yeah, it captures kind of that uneasy vibe among some of the residents.
Ken says, DC, there's no push in the bush.
No, this is not
album.
your go-to for the mood setting, unless you want to set a very somber and reflectively sad mood at times, I guess.
And Webb 100% nails it. It's supposed to be Scott, 100%.
Yeah, that's
it. Does feel like LA. It does feel like LA. All right. Anything else to add, DC, before I interrupt you again?
That is my spiel, and I felt bad that I couldn't really tout this album. It's just it doesn't resonate with me.
Are you going to be as harsh on it as you were with Flint?
My God, was I in a... And that's 2/3 of the 3 of the 4 Grand Funk guys. I don't know what, I was in a sour mood that night, so I don't mean to come down that hard. I'll take my little spiel about if someone was playing this in a room and I was there. I wouldn't be angry, but I wouldn't ask who is this group. So let's just say 5. It just sits right in the middle. It's competent. It's well written and played. It's just that's my personal score.
Well, let's put it back into context. Let's say you listen to this album in 1986 with all the other commercial schlop that was out. How would you look at this record?
Probably wouldn't change because I just listen to what I want to listen to. And if it's from the 70s, I don't feel bad about not leaping on to new stuff. Either if it resonates with me or not, that's where, this sounds like the kind of tape that the younger artists that I worked at in the greeting card company would hand to me and say, "Hey, Daryl, check this out." And I'd listen and just kind of roll my eyes and hand it back to him after lunch.
Well,
we used to exchange tapes back in the day to listen.
Generation gap.
Yeah, that's it. I'm an old cat.
You're old as hell. Anyway, Stephen Davis says it's an album you can put on before getting chewed out.
Yeah, you don't feel
Webb
so
says
bad.
it's just there. Nothing really grabs you.
It just sits.
My God, you got a tough crowd.
Kiefer says DC is to Flint what I am to Kansas.
Ooh,
I retracted my Flint grade because I don't know where my head was that night, but I was surly as hell, and I shouldn't have been.
Hell, you're surly right now.
Well, look, this is I'm HR puffing stuff compared to how I was on that show. Man, I was surly.
You were surly.
I think it's because I take Mark Farner's side in the whole debacle.
Well, we had a look at Flint. I'm trying to retract my Kansas grade as well. All right, well, okay.
Good.
All right, let's throw it. So we've got a 6.5 and a 5. Things aren't looking good for David and David. All right, well, let's throw it over to Mr. B and Bolt and see what he can do for our rating.
All right. most of what I'm going to say here has already been stated.
Oh no!
But I want to share what I thought, so you know what I thought. Yeah, this isn't what I normally go for either. I'd gotten this at a record show. It was in a dollar crate, and I was like, God, I really like that first single off it, so I grabbed it. And I think it's a pretty good record overall, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, you know, Davey had said, yeah, it's like a singer-songwriter album, but by a duo. I feel like they're tapping into this Springsteen, John Cougar Mellencamp struggle of the working man. This is not an uplifting album really at all. But at the same time, it's got this LA vibe as opposed to what Springsteen and Mellencamp bring to the table typically.
No.
What?
Matthew Sweet came out of Nebraska too.
Yeah, that's true.
Jesus. Let's get your priorities straight.
All right. Nobody mentioned this, but when I hear some of the rhythms on this album and the instrumentation, I get a little bit of a Peter Gabriel feel.
You know what I get? I know it's not my turn, but we're just having a conversation.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I hear this David and David album, it almost sounds like it could be an album. If you erase the vocals, the one track that comes to mind is Boys of Summer. It's not off. It's not too far off from Don Henley is when I hear it.
Yeah, because that's got that kind of that intricate kind of drum beat to it, and it's just the way that they tie these drums. They're not a typical sounding drum like you got, and the bass is kind of all over the place a lot of times, and some of the keys just give you this. Like I said, I got a kind of a Gabriel feel at times, not real heavy, but I could just hear it. Just reminded me of that a little bit. So
the thing about it, though, that really stands out is the guitar tone on this album.
I'll be getting to that too.
Okay, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
But when I hear this, there is no other guitar tone like this on the planet, and it's 100% tied to this record, and that has a big deal to do with it. And the synth, the synth sounds, that makes sense. But really, the guitars on here, I think, really make the record. Anyway, go ahead.
I feel like there's multiple guitar tones in this album too, which I'll discuss a little bit of that, but not much. Yeah, so I couldn't tell who really sang what.
I don't know which one.
Davey had mentioned he thought I think Ricketts sang on track 5. Maybe
that one song, "A Rock for the Forgotten," I put deep vocals. So maybe that's when he came in there. That's kind of got a Bowie-esque flavor.
Yeah, it's quite different than the other David.
I don't think anybody mentioned how after this, these guys worked on Sheryl Crow's debut album.
They did.
Tuesday night.
They were in this kind of group of people called the Tuesday Night Music, whatever the hell, which was her first album, right?
Yep.
The name of her first album. Kevin Gilbert was also in that group of people. Baerwald went solo later, has a few solo albums, and Ricketts ended up working with Tony Childs. You had mentioned how she sang backing on here. So let me get to some of the tracks here. Yeah.
Wait a minute, Byron.
Go ahead.
Kyle says, so you've got Springsteen doing Jersey Americana, Mellencamp and Seeger doing Midwestern Americana,
Right.
Tom Petty doing Southern Americana, and David and David doing West Coast Americana. Holy crap, Kyle! You nailed it 100%.
Yeah, he got it all covered, and then Kiefer came in.
All right, everybody, please
Dylan.
like, subscribe. We'll see you on the next show.
Yep.
Kiefer came in with Dylan doing Minnesota Americana. So,
all right, go ahead, Byron.
All right.
Sorry.
First track, "Welcome to Boomtown." Always love that track.
Oh, it's a great
It
song.
was the big hit. Okay. Here's one of the ones where I kind of felt like the drums and the keyboard, they gave me a little bit of the Peter Gabriel feel. And I think that the guitar tone in this sounds a lot like a rock man. More of the cleaner, less, not the heavy Boston sound, but more of the clean Boston.
When you're doing the clean chorusy sound.
Yeah, it's kind of that Def Leppard hysteria sound. At least on that track and one other track, I remember that's what it really sounded like to me. So yes, the clean chorus. I'm going to go grab my Rockman.
Can you go get the Rockman and plug
I'll hook it up and demonstrate that sound, right?
I know exactly what that sound is.
Oh, Ken White brings up a good point. I would add Michael Stanley in the Midwest as well. More to come on there on that.
Yes,
folks.
we will be doing that in May, right?
Yep.
Because I had to move it. I wasn't ready, 100% ready yet. Sometimes I can't do it all, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a heavy load. Sometimes it just
can't
All right, let's
do
get back to this. We'll be here.
Sorry, Byron.
All right. I also thought that at times in this track and a couple other tracks, he's almost singing with the country drawl. The way he's kind of, what do they call it? What they do with their voice, the kind of twang. He twangs it a little bit, not a lot, but it's just subtle. But yeah, basically the song is a statement on the negative effects of money and drugs on people's lives, mostly in LA, probably. The second track, Swallowed by the Cracks. Yeah, I like that a lot. To me, this sounds like John Cougar Mellencamp without the accordion and the fiddle. Got some airplay allegedly. I don't know if I ever heard it back in the day or not. Ain't So Easy. I like that. I think the chorus where it keeps saying, I can make you happy, which I don't know why they didn't just call it that, but
is it true that Byron's only good at reviewing Gary Moore albums?
Have we reviewed any? I've never reviewed any Gary Moore albums yet. So how would he know that?
Ernesto, what the freaking shit are you talking about?
We'll have to do that someday, though.
Yeah.
But I thought this was probably the most upbeat track on the album. Being Alone Together, I thought that was pretty good. Kind of a bass-driven track. Davey mentioned how it kind of switches into a reggae feel in the chorus. And once again, I'm hearing more Rockman on this track as well. Let's see if Rock for the Forgotten. I'd written that. I kind of like the rhythm on there. It's kind of intricate and interesting. Daisy says it's a song about dreams not coming true. River's Gonna Rise. I kind of like that one quite a bit. I didn't know what it was about based on the lyrics, though. But it's got this real slow build up, and the guitar really it's got an aggressive tone to it. Unlike the Rockman stuff we've been hearing, I really like that solo on that. Okay, Swimming in the Ocean. Okay, I totally agree with Davey. It's got that total Adrian Belew, King Crimson vibe to it, with the two guitars kind of doing different things, but kind of weaving in and out from each other. I really kind of like that track. I had no idea what the lyrics were about. All Alone in the Big City, I thought it was all right. Real slow, dark. Davey had kind of described it pretty well, I thought. Not an uplifting track again. And the Heroes, there's a lot of dobro in that track. To me, it had a country feel to it. And I thought it was all right. But yeah, that about wraps it up for me.
What would you give it out of 10?
I'm going to go with a 6.75.
Ooh, he beat me.
God.
Just a nudge.
6.75. Man. Whew. All right. I can deal with that. All right. My whole basic synopsis of this record is that, to keep it simple, I think you gentlemen really covered it quite well. For one, I like the production on this record as opposed to a lot of other 1980s records because it doesn't really sound that bad. You don't have a lot. Yes, you can tell that it was done in the 80s, but the production is good 80s, not over the top. It's not like you're listening to Hysteria, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
And you want to go in the corner of the room and vomit. This is the thing. This is going to be a tangent because I don't understand this. Please, someone explain this to me. I can go to FM rock radio and they still play Hysteria tracks regularly. Why? I don't get it. Please explain it to me because I don't understand.
Because it sold 10 million plus copies.
No, that's not the reason, Davey. That's not the reason. Wrong. I still want to know because it's not selling 10 million copies today.
Not today. They're a beloved band. It
You got
reminds
It's like,
people
yeah,
of the
everybody-
80s in their youth.
It sold 20 million, damn it, Davey. You're wrong.
Yeah, worldwide. In the States, 10 million.
Anyway, I don't get it. This
Unfortunately-
record, as far as when I listened to it, has dated rather well. Now, I'm not an Americana kind of guy, but I can appreciate the production. I can tell when I listen to it. You know, Welcome to the Boomtown's a great song. It sounds like LA 100%. The guitars sound great on this record. The bass playing, you know, and the thing is, it's that these two gentlemen pretty much played everything on it other than the drums and some background vocals, as Mr. Cretin has discussed before. I'm pretty impressed. And the fact is, they only did the one record. I would have liked to see more of what they could do. But, you know, maybe they capture lightning in a bottle. At the time, this record was really thought of well, like really highly thought of. You look at the reviews, you go through All Music or take your pick. It always got a great review. Now, maybe in today's modern age, I don't know. Is it as good as it was? Is it a classic? It's a cult classic. I don't know if I would ever come back to it again, but I don't know. A 6.5 seems kind of low. A 5 seems low to me. A 6.7, the way I look at it, even though this might be a record that I would return to on a daily basis, I can appreciate it for what it is. And considering a lot of the crap that was being spewed out in 1986, this stands up pretty high during that era as far as I'm concerned. Now, you almost have to put yourself in that time period, but it could have charted higher, but I think the songs are great. The production's great. These guys obviously can play. I would give this in the content. I would probably give this album an 8 because it's really good. It's a really good record. These guys didn't go at it half-assed. It's a good record. Now, it might not be your cup of tea, but you should be able to hear what really brings this record out. So I'm going to give it an 8. I might not want to go back and forth and re-listen to it all that much, but what is here, I really can appreciate. The sequencing's good. It just kind of flows. It's not anything on here that you want to, you know, leave the room for. I mean, it just seems to kind of work. And I really don't have a problem with it like everybody else on the panel does.
Okay.
I guess everybody draws their lines where they're or how they're going to rate these things. I go just with, do I like it and does it resonate with me? And like I said, I gave them their props. Good players, good singers. These are good songs.
Mm-hmm.
Just is not in my wheelhouse.
So if we did an album battle between David and Hysteria, should we get that scheduled?
I don't mind Hysteria. I would rate that much higher.
Oh, I couldn't. Hysteria's like Jesus.
Well,
It's
we
the
know
bottom of the
Martin would
barrel.
give it a 0, so.
Hysteria will be the album when the apocalypse happens, and they will be playing that in the background. Not the horns, but Hysteria.
One more thing we didn't mention about the record, with all the story songs, it's in a Steely Dan mode. And is this how Steely Dan would have sounded had they continued into the 80s?
No. This sounds more like Don Henley's solo album than anything to me. If you wiped away,
In comparison to Henley, though, yeah.
if you wiped away the David's vocals and put Don Henley in here, you'd have a Don Henley album with really good guitar, though. We'll mention that. I don't know. All right, real quick. Who has heard this record? Is there anybody in the chat? I'm not holding my breath. But has anybody in the chat heard this record and can give us a rating out of 10?
People have said they heard it and they were familiar with it, but now all they can remember is the title song.
Webb's got it.
Webb
will come through.
Webb's got everything. Jesus. He gave it a 7. All right. Wait. Oh, Nathan's here. I can always count on Nathan and Webb. All right. So we got a 7 from Webb. Nathan, my man, a 9.
Ooh, a 9.
All right. Just Steven 35 is going to go with the 7. All right. I got you. Ultraviolet, only the first song, loved it. Can't rate it. That's fine. Mr. Honest.
That's come up a couple times in
That's
the
okay.
comments.
As long as you're honest. DC, what is the Puppets rating?
Dick Smallwood. Dick Smallwood had a rough go this past week. My grandsons are not allowed in my art studio due to them coloring my sketches that got to go to clients. So Pa has to be here. Well, I'm in the can down here, and I hear them come downstairs.
Was it? And you were in the can?
I got my own private bathroom.
He's got everything down
there.
And the one grandson sees Dick Smallwood back there, and he goes, "Hey, who's this guy?" Then I hear them grabbing him, and he's being flung all over the basement. By the time I got out of there, the middle grandson's holding him in front of his face and saying, "I'm going to pull your eyebrows out."
So this is what happened. DC just got done laying pipe, and he had to come out and how's he look? How's he look? There he is.
Not too bad.
They don't treat Dementia Cat the way they treat Dick, do they?
No, they love Dementia Cat. Hey, I got the crap kicked out of me, folks.
Jesus. All right, Ken White, in all seriousness. Jesus, these people on the panel. 6.5.
Did you get just Steven 35 7 there?
Yes, I did. I mentioned that.
Okay.
If you were listening, Byron, I mentioned him. There's Dementia Cat.
Yeah. Webb was asking if he's gone to cat heaven. No, he was taken into for his exam, and the vet said he's doing good, all things considered, but his dementia may get him before his other physical ailments get him, because if he doesn't know where he is or he's constantly in a panic situation, I can't let him live like that. That's a hell of a way to live.
Did the doctor diagnose him with dementia?
Oh yeah, he's got dementia and he's got liver issues and his thyroid doesn't work right.
Jesus.
He's poor thing.
Maureen, let's look at what Maureen. Poor Dementia Cat. I was raising 3 kids in the 80s and really didn't explore albums that were on FM or MTV. Well, Maureen, it's okay. It's all right. We love Dementia Cat here, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's doing okay. He's hanging in there, but for how long? My experience with cats more than dogs is all of a sudden very quickly.
Well, Dementia Cat's time to go. He'll go hide somewhere and die.
Yeah, that's it. They'll just make themselves scarce.
Mm-hmm. Well, on an uplifting note.
Hey, folks. Hey, don't you love that rock and roll?
Kyle said, DC, my grandpa just died from dementia a little over a month ago. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a rough go. I dealt with that with my mom. Welcome to Dementia Talk, folks. Peoria, Illinois, you're on.
Kiefer has priorities. Says, I'm back from yelling at my family for wanting to put pineapple on pizza.
I could never do that. My Italian relatives would haunt me from the other side. There's Christian. Christian had a big move. He's getting his life all settled in the Carolinas.
Yeah, Christian, are you moved now? Maureen is a 70s girl. No problem with that.
I'm a 70s guy, I'm sure.
You two are meant for each other. Good Lord. Anyway, we've got all our we didn't get a lot of numbers on this one. You know, we can do shows and just get numbers. Like Davey and I just did the Stick Show, if you hadn't seen it. So we looked at Cornerstone Paradise Theater. People were just coming in left and right. putting their numbers in, but that's all right. It's all good. We're here just trying to turn you on to stuff. So I'm going to calculate this and see what we've got. Well, it's not as bad as I thought.
About a 7.
About a 7, 6.9.
I think everybody could be happy with that.
I'm happy with that, Cretin.
I brought in the surliness
I'm
with
happy.
the 5, and Grant gave it its due with the 8.
I have to put it in perspective. And
Yeah.
considering where it was when it came out, it was a lot. It was pretty different than the other stuff that was released. The fact that Welcome to the Boomtown was a decent hit, I'm surprised. You know,
I'll have to mention to Kyle that I forgot to say I'm sorry about his grandfather. That's a tough go. Dementia.
Scott says it's decent. All right, I can do. Grant, if we do Jeff Buckley scores, may be lower. I don't know. I don't think
so. But we'll see.
Well, I don't think anybody knows Jeff Buckley any more than they know David and David at this point.
Jeff's the son, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Tim was the
We should
dad.
do a Tim Buckley show. That'd be even better.
Never listened
Jeff.
to either of them, really.
Ken, we may do the Bees album for a one and done. Stop. Doesn't mean we're not going to do it.
One more
Bandit.
thing about these guys, if I could add.
Yeah.
They
Go
got
ahead.
together 30 years later in 2016 to do a follow-up record, and then they stopped working on it for some reason. So will it ever see the light of day? Who knows?
Well, I don't think a lot of people are, breaking down their door for another one. So I don't know.
A lot of people want you to do that Bees album in great depth. Now that group before them, the Boys, I thought everyone was
did
going to
the
love
Boys
that.
already.
I know people hated that album. Like, what the? I couldn't figure that one
No,
out at
no.
all.
The Boys is a little bit more commercial, a little bit more accessible.
That's me. Commercial.
Now,
and
if you listen to the
accessible.
album after that, Holland, which is, there's all these different bands. It's not quite as accessible as the Bees, I don't think. But I'll be looking at Holland too. There's a lot that I'll be doing in the warehouse, ladies and gentlemen.
You've been pumping out the material there,
Well,
Grant.
I
Crazy.
gotta fill in the blanks when we're not doing shows. And I don't like doing shows by myself, but whatever. I'll give it a shot.
They're nice little snippets. You know what I mean?
I
10
didn't do
minutes
the
in
no.
and
We
out.
didn't do the Bees. We did
The Boys
the Boys.
who became the Bees.
So anyway, there we go. Look, we can get out of here. We don't have to go to an hour. So basically, we have a 7 out of 10. Anybody else have anything to add before we wrap this dog up? Cretin? No.
No, I'm good.
Bolt? No.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. You're going just fine. Thank you, Webb. I'm trying to grow as an artist. No, I'm not. Anyway, all right, we'll see it. I don't know. A 7's not bad. Go out and check it out. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. We'll be back for another one and done. I'm not sure what the next one and done is. Does anybody know? Did we talk about that?
We had an idea last night. You and I talked about it. We'll save it for later.
We'll save it. We do have an idea. So we'll be back. See everybody. Keep it clean. Wrap the rascal. And what else can we say? That's it.
See ya.
Care.
See everybody. Take care.
Be well. Stay safe.